Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and welcome back to another in-depth game analysis I'm doing for the Roanoke Valley Chess Club. And this is from the 2018 Club Championship. First round, I had the white pieces against Andrew, and or Drew, as we call him, or as he prefers to be called. And I played e4 to start, and we got an Alekhine. I like to play, whenever I do play the Alekhine, I like to play the Brooklyn variation, so knight g8 after e5, but as white, I like a different variation. I prefer the four pawns attack, and it is a bit loosening, and there can be some significant problems. G6 is a fairly normal move. Usually you exchange pawns, knight c3, and then g6. When I actually play the Alekhine a lot more seriously against the four pawns, I would do that. But, okay, g6, it's a normal move. It does actually allow me to play knight f3 without the problems of bishop g4, though I still should probably be playing bishop e3 and knight c3 first. I don't have any real problems with that. Bishop g7, knight c3, bishop e6. And, okay, you can consider two moves here. This d5 and then knight f3 basically removes any of the real problems. As long as you find a way to maintain your pawn on e5. So after, say, maybe queen e2, bishop takes knight, and then pawn takes knight, you maintain your center, but your pieces are a little bit awkward, though the bishop is getting out to, say, h3. There's a lot of air around your king, so it's an unclear position. Instead, what I chose was a move that has actually been played before. So this position has been reached with bishop e6. And after knight here, we have to consider what happens on bishop takes or knight takes. Knight takes fails to, so knight takes pawn fails to knight takes bishop. Because after you take it, I've essentially won a piece. It's just a typical removing the defender tactic. I'll go ahead and put that in just to make it clear, right? So I think it's fair to say that, yes, white has won a piece. So the real question is, what happens after bishop takes? Well, interestingly, the exact same thing. I win a piece because of here. And we both saw that. So my opponent instead played bishop f5. And, okay, maybe this is loosening, but apparently this is playable. I thought so. And bishop went all the way back home. And I admit I spent a little bit of time looking at knight f7, but it just doesn't work. So bishop e3, let's develop, and knight to e4. This is a great square for the knight, and it's really tough for black to prove anything has come out of the opening. I would say white is just better here. Knight c6, and I can't chase that because the pawn on e5 is loose, so I just develop. And I'm working on castling queenside because my king would have a little bit too much air. Though I can honestly consider castling short to get some pressure on the f-file. Castling queenside is going to make, or castling long, as I typically call it, is going to just ensure I have a safer king, and it's going to allow me to maybe consider pushing in the center, and actually using that center for what it was built for, which is running black over. E6, castles, queen e7, and okay, so I spent a little bit of time here, and I realized, yeah, this is a pawn sacrifice, but I don't actually think black can safely accept it. and I can get away with pushing d5 here. And this was kind of a unique idea, and the whole point was that bishop c5 is a very good move to play in general at this point, but it also makes a lot of threats. So, sorry, d5 and takes and d6. And the reason you can't take is because you lose a piece. Yeah, so pawn takes, and I take the knight, and you've lost a piece. And if you take with the queen, well, I take again, and you lose a piece. So that pawn can't be taken. That was kind of the main point of d5, is that if I push d6, you can't take. And you can't stop me from pushing d6. So, queen there. b3, this is really just to protect, though I could have... I think I could have done better. Yeah, I could have done a little bit better. I think, well, maybe not. Yeah, no, it's b3 is fine. After here, I took... I'm trying to remember where the key variation was. Queen there. Yeah, queen d6. I just missed that I could win material with queen d6, right? So let's actually look at queen d6. And why does this win material? Well, for starters, takes, check, and it doesn't matter where the black king goes, I win a piece. Like that. And honestly, I probably should have seen it, but it was early in the morning, and I mean, like I said, this was round 1, and it started at, I think, 9 or 10, and coffee hadn't kicked in. So instead, I just went for this because I saw a windmill. So that's why I played here. Because, well, we looked at some other moves. Queen b4 is pretty good. It puts the question to the knight, and then black loses a piece again. Because after takes, well... you can't, and that's the thing. You can't put the queen anywhere to save it without losing material, and you can try with knight here, but I think what we wind up doing is, what do we do? I think we just take it. Yeah, we just take it, and well. You're losing your queen, so yeah. Just trying to remember which piece we take it with. So bishop here, and yeah, that does that. Knight c8 is also apparently a good move because, well, that would be check, and I believe the correct move is actually bishop here. And it's difficult to, you get caught up in every possible windmill. You don't want to go to the d file, and of course you go there. And that's the thing. So you're hosed either way after that. Instead, I chose bishop c5 here because I like the windmill idea with the bishop. And so I was looking at the right idea. I was just looking at the wrong way about actually getting it. So... bishop to e4, I take, and I believe I'm still material there. And I missed that check, which leads to, well, good things for me. I'd be winning in that situation. What's the other? Knight f5 is also good for me. Queen takes. Yeah, that would be checkmate. And instead I played queen b4 for, you know, obvious reasons, because I wanted to win the queen. Instead he plays knight there, which is a good move, and basically my advantage is gone. Now, I think maybe he could have played a... No, he couldn't play a takes with this move, so he had to do that, and he had to move that, and I want to control the d-file, so I wanted to get his rook off of there, and now we're in an ending which I don't know if anyone's better. It's probably... It's an unclear position. Computer probably prefers black because better pawn structure. But it's really difficult to prove that, especially if I can make threats. The reason I went to c2 is black can't make any checks, and thus is forced to defend, and now I can start running up. And somewhere around here we reach the time control. Somewhere around here we reach the time control. Wow, sorry about that. And it's absolutely essential that he keep control of the c8 square. Though, so why undefended, I don't understand. And that was kind of my whole point. I thought maybe, no, he can't. He has to play there. And then I push, making my pawn safe. And then I push again, making the threat obvious. I'm going to play queen b7 maybe. Or... That's the thing. I don't know exactly how I'm promoting. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I promote here, but it makes it really easy when your opponent undefends the promotion square. What would be the best move for black, though? I would assume black's best move... I'm not sure. It's been a while since... I admit it's been a while since I've analyzed this game. But, yeah, undefending that was just good for me. And, well... At this point, the game is over. My opponent resigned here. Simply because you can't take this queen, and even if you could, you're still down a queen, right? Right? You're down 2 queens, and you can't take the one that's hanging. And, you know, you're getting checkmated. Like, I don't know if there's a good move. I would try something like this just to open up more squares, but I'm going to take this, and you've only got 2 moves, and both of them get checkmated instantly. So, yeah. And obviously here, and we are checkmating. So those are the only 2 moves I can think of, and that's why Drew resigned here. But if we go back to the opening, it's kind of interesting because you don't normally see a situation where white builds a center like this and it's sound. This kind of reminds me of some of the... I think there is a King's Indian variation that goes... It reminds me of King's Indian variation, so forgive me for doing this. It goes like... We'll play d6 just for argument's sake. Knight here, g6. Here... There's a 4 pawns attack. Castles, if I remember correctly. There's this. And then what's the theory move here. No. There has to be a theoretical move. I really am trying to remember the theoretical move. That's theory, I know that. I'm trying to remember the variation. That goes, maybe it's here, 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 castles, f4, d6, no. Yeah, it is there. I really am trying to remember the variation. I know it's saying that is theory, but there's a variation where white gets all 6 of his pawns, not all 6, but gets this type of position with these pawns, and there's basically no development. And you think, whoa, that's a little much, but I've heard that this variation is sound. I'm trying to remember exactly how you get to that exact position, but it's like it's the King's Indian 6 pawns attack, but no, the fact I was able to get such a similar type of structure is kind of hilarious. And of course have it be not under any real threat, and I really probably should have considered this move here, because takes, knight has to move, and then knight d6, and well, it's not hard to imagine. I mean, there's brutal, and then there's, I would say that white is significantly better here. That's just one clinical way to handle the position. But I like my complications, and I think b3 was considered, yeah, b3 was a bad move. But I played it because it makes sense, and like I said, queen b4 would have been really good, and knight c8 also would have been a good way to win the queen. But I didn't play that, and you know, we saw the rest of the game. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Have a nice day.